business point of view, we run a mentor program, which is, I guess, fairly similar to the older person's program that they run there. It's not monetary, so if we take that out of the equation for the time being, I mean, we can revisit it. I'm really interested to hear from the schools what's going to work best. Is it those types of programs? Is it a mentoring thing? Is it someone to come to the school and speak in front of a forum of 20 or 30 of you? What ideas have you guys got in terms of promoting this idea of peace?
Well, I would love to see in Toowoomba almost like a fete that, like what you were saying, Scott, but with like on a school-based level where the schools work together to organise it, and we work together, and almost like it could have a concert involved in it, and not so much focusing on interfaith dialogue and so on, but getting everyone together and focusing on like maybe having all different foods there and showing different aspects of faith, but not so much in your face that time to talk about faith, almost like a unconscious all together enjoying each other's company idea and experiencing each other's diversity, if that makes sense. That it's like a cultural festival but on a school level. So
would all schools attend? That's because I didn't go to school here, so I'm not too sure, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, there's some inter-school rivalry and that sort of thing.
And I think that's the problem, that we're all so busy competing against each other all the time that we never do anything together, ever. So whether or not we could do that with our competitive natures, I don't know. Yeah, use the competitiveness. Yeah.
So it starts at a... No, you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd love to see like a marketplace or something where each school has the opportunity to like highlight the different things that they're doing in their school. Like I know at St Ursula's we do all sorts of things like working with different charities. Could we be selling something to raise money for a charity that we're so closely linked with at school? And possibilities are endless.
How do you start it from a school base up? Do you form a group in each school, or and then how do you communicate to other schools?
Claire.
Which is where like the leaders from each school meet once a term, just so we know what's going on in all the other schools. So I guess that would be how we could meet.
A platform to.
Is that happening? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah.
We will send an invitation to all the student leadership groups from every school. Also, our very close regional schools that may only have leaders to go to. So our first one will be on the 22nd of April, and it may be really good to have some input from some link to Finland to explain what they're doing.
If we can maybe put that as an action, whether there or Sophie does it at that meeting, to keep the ball rolling with this.
Yeah.
I think rather than just have it as a great idea and let it die out, if we start to put some steps into place, get some ideas from the other leaders about what they think and some other ideas around it, then we can start to build on, do we need to approach, is there going to be any funding, where's it going to be held, etc., etc. So.
But I think the key is definitely, constantly today the idea keeps coming up of how do we get youth involved, how do we convey our ideas to different youth, and I feel like the best way to do that is for us to organise something, like for the schools, instead of trying to organise things for the schools to get involved in, the schools organise something for themselves, if that makes any sense. But, yeah.
Kind of agreement to present our session with a little bit define little bit clearly, rather than just tackle education just as one whole thing. Just my suggestion. So with that, just my thought we like to share. The first one is why I suppose we need peace. Why?
My mum and dad, which taught me the life skills, but also outside of that, the responsibility of my aunties and uncles, direct aunties and uncles, to be my cultural father. They would teach me all our cultural beliefs, when to fish, when to hunt, when to collect the food, all that type of thing. From physical type, not only physical type, that teaches the stories, dreaming stories, so you learn your culture. We don't have that nowadays. Not so much in our urban living. I live in Toowoomba, off my homeland, so I can't teach kids. And so it's slowly diminishing. And they have this, they have iPod, they have Xbox, they have a whole...
Dr. Ali said again, it is how to live with our neighbors. So we are actually broaden the circle again and where we started. So, can I receive some contributions from members who have not done so before we move on to the next topic? Yes. We should not define or limit only to the academic discipline, because it's much more than that. It's lifelong. Any other contributions? Education should be different from the community. It should be in family that you can come to school, and it should be with your own name, because that's the only way you can amongst the people who will with them, and you take another person like yourself. I think one of our members actually summarized in a way very, very well what we have discussed the last 10 minutes. Then it is starting from very young at home, and it is a lifelong process, not just for 5 years or So therefore, thank you so much. You really, gave us some good summary. Any other contribution? If there isn't, maybe we can always go back. Perhaps it's time we move on to the next one. Then what? I'm not quite sure what. But now I think Syed is going to take over to facilitate.
We can come in one. Okay, hi. So we have discussed about why sharing ideas on peace education is important. Then why peace education, what is peace, and this question.
Well, we said because we have spent yesterday all day and half of the day we're talking about peace, so you may not have to go through the definition of peace Okay, but then also we feel, but we haven't covered this aspect of peace. So now you're very welcome.
Yeah, so maybe our first slide will be what is peace. So basically say peace, celebration, it's not together with people. Maybe anybody would like to add what is peace? Would you like to add what is peace?
Ask your just as outsider for the also consider segregation from the point of view of European, Occidentalist, and Asian. We have a different approach to segregation.
After all, we have been discussing diversity in our community, so probably we should address that as well.
Would you like to tell us about the peace education from the perspective?
That's how I'd see it. That's what you mean. It would be all fair. That's how I'd see
Okay, then we go on to
it. We all go into the same schools or
so we have
three elements of peace. One is peace with yourself. Peace with yourself. Second, peace with your fellow human beings. And third, peace with yourself.
I think this is a very important, so please repeat, so people hear those people.
Peace with yourself. If you are not peace with yourself, how can you be peace with others?
yes.
That's how I just said it before.
Basically,
Peace with
and second one is peace with your fellow human beings. And third, peace with the environment.
Peace with the environment.
And that those three sums up what peace
What is
is.
peace? So we use that.
You can't have one for anyone.
Yes, exactly.
So
What was for peace with God? That's the whole thing. That peace with God is sums up all those things. Yeah, sums up all those underlying.
peace with God. Okay.
It's a very Quaker actually. It's what we say.
Okay.
Then just to share just a quick one, because Quakers believe in non-violence, feel very strongly non-violence, non-violence, peace. And one of the very famous Quakers, he's always so angry about peace because we are not doing enough work for peace. And someone said, friend, because we call each other friend, you just feel so peace in yourself. When I listen to you, be more peaceful.
Okay. We go back to what are the shared ideas on peace education? Or what is important for us to share? Anybody would like to start? And wait. That means we need to embrace technology, learn it to our advantage. Then
Technology must be made
human friendly.
dehumanized. Technology dehumanized. We should make it
How about
Someone said the youngsters got their attention on their iPods or their phones or whatever, and they're not interacting with one another. And we have to get a balance once again, but getting back to actually interacting with people instead of just interacting with technology.
Okay, about technology with children, but I like to understand you say that peace must start at home, right? We all agree that peace must start at home. So what can we share with our family, about peace education? Because I believe everything starts at home. So what are the sharing ideas that we can share with our family?
Because tolerance being a family. With the family lifestyle, family, we're living together with the ups and downs of every day. Sometimes we need to be able to embrace one another and hopefully in the words of one song, to engender this
Like Tim was saying, Tim learned life skills from people around him, but are we teaching our children the life skills that they need in order to get on with one another?
So based on that, I would like to emphasize Mr. Lee. Peace education is not academic. So how parents can learn about peace education? I mean, what are your sharing ideas? How to share?
Peace is not academic, but another method of pass on knowledge to I would say modeling. Use of models teach. Since it's more than just communication of information.
And next time, just with your neighbors, with people in your neighbors, and interaction with them. And then it goes from there, because the children live there, we are friendly with everyone, more communal communities and interactions as well. So children do grow up to know that it's not just us, others that we come to know and we interact with, that is the way. If it starts from very young age, it's inculcated in you, just keep applying that jumping out
On average,
May I just contribute to one, just as a participant, that since Human Learning College started this interfaith, interreligious, intercultural forum, I hope so much if we can somehow spread this not teaching message, but all these programs to much more wider people in our community. So parents who are actually struggling with this issue, they can also participate. And because you can't ask parents to go to school and learn about this, you can't do that. It's too late. But this is a wonderful thing. Somehow it could invite more parents in our community.
So anybody would like to add more? What are the sharing ideas on peace education? Before we go proceed to how we can share ideas on peace education. No?
Oh,
Okay, we start with the
one important suggestion I want to make yesterday, but I didn't.
there are a lot of ignorance in the community about each other's lives. I suspect what's going on with the Islam. Oh, I don't know what's going on. So there's a lot of ignorance. So I say, first step, why not to make the Harmony Day, or one day we see open all the institutes of place of worship to everybody. Just pay a visit and see what it means. I think that will take us a great way because we can remove the ignorance. Because people now feel that inside the church they are not preaching for terrorism. Just go visit the church. Just open it. I go to the mosque and see what it is. Meet an imam. I was a short discussion for 50 minutes. Right? And enjoy a cup of tea. And by that mutual visit to all institutions, community can become more knowledgeable about each other. That's essential for peace.
What they do on Friday, like the same thing in the life of it. So you mentioned about the Harmony Day. Because can we add in? Do you think that it's peace and Harmony Day together? Because there will be a second.
Yes, it's declared by the government. The government has declared the Harmony Day. So we have now reached the changes. It's possible, but anyway.
Should bring together.
Peace and Harmony Day.
Maybe there's Harmony Day. Peace. So how are you going to share ideas? What else? How besides open the places of worship to others religions and vice versa?
Like Ghazaly said, that sure information added on this to Harmony Day, because Harmony Day is quite well understood and participated in our community as a celebration of all the different cultural activities and music and dance and food. Because we have now very good facilities like Pure and College, maybe if we want this city, this one to be model city of cities, maybe we ask regional council, regional council, declare a day peace day, and then that peace day, we really open up all the religious institutions, different emphasis than Harmony Day. And then where we really promote the concept of peace in our community to start
Since our person was working on Western or Asian countries, one role, very fine institution that Malaysia have, and Singapore, Malaysia, this open day on the Narayan. I'm not saying that we should do that here, but that concept, that idea is the one I'm promoting place of worship. On a day, everybody goes to there's a worship, of course. You go there, you know, we have shoes inside, that's fine, okay? And then go inside. Now that idea of open day is a wonderful idea. In Singapore and Malaysia, for every, I don't know how many of you have been here, Christian New Year, Raya, or Chinese New Year, everybody gets this is a good society. They are diverse people.
Okay, I'd like to share a thought that for Singapore we have open day at the Istana where Chinese New Year everybody will open to everybody, or even they will go there, there's food, traditional dances, everything. If Chinese, they will be very good at dance, whatever. So, if let's say Tumba per se, where can we make open day where we can open all
I'm taking that to the open day for churches and religious institutions. One day we open up this just to speak to the people.
Shall we recommend then open day for peace?
Yeah,
Open day for peace.
but there will be a lot of money. The council will be constrained with the budget.
But it doesn't go according to
The institution itself.
the community that's promoting it.
So I believe this thing is little like it's our religion party, then we can understand each other religion, which is going to happen. This is true because I was born in Bangladesh, so it's 80% Muslim, but some other Hindu and Christian also. So I did not study about Hindu religions or Christian religion, but I know all religions, they celebrate, how to celebrate, how to do it. I know because I enjoy with them. They come from our party, our Eid, our festival, Ramadan time. So they know our things, religion, they enjoy each other sharing that ability, the religious thing that so I know it's not better not to be studying our
Okay, so open day for peace, that one I would like to sum up. So it will be different from Hamlet. It will not involve the council, it will be private institutions and synagogues and so forth. So what else, how can we share this idea?
I mean, one for peace sake for Universal Peace Day is bringing the universal consciousness, and by saying what you think, you bring that into you. So you are the, because you are the creators of what you think. If you're saying you are universal, then you're bringing the universe into you become the universe. So so if you want universal peace, you want to have peace, you've got to say what you think and then bring it in. Because what you say, you think you put out. So it's creating the domain and manifesting it. So it's saying it and so making it universal. So that's it. That to me is saying, so I would have been peace state, I would have a universal peace state, because that means you're bringing the universal consciousness in. And you're bringing that type of universal consciousness into it, because we are universal beings. We're just all asleep. We're not.
Universal peace day. Is it equivalent to world peace?
Yeah.
But it's much broader than world, universal.
Yeah, universal peace day. That's
I think I agree with one of members said it's not really a matter of council, but we can actually go through also for Pure Land has been organized all this forum that because Pure Land has already then networked with all other religious institutions and minorities in this community, might be quicker or we declare. Having said it, having that council backup, and because of our council is just so supportive of this movement, if there is a definite advantage because we go on their calendar. We go on their calendar. So we can recommend that Universal Peace Day or Open Day or, doesn't matter what we want to call that concept, we recommend in conjunction with the Toowoomba Regional Council and then we have that. I think that probably is
So can we agree that we recommend 1 week before the multicultural days of the 24th? So we recommend 1 week for the peace day. Is that okay?
Probably when will be also different religious practices. So we want to closely as we can meet together.
So we talk about peace day, open day. I'm quite interested in food. Can we bring food together as part of peace education? Because maybe we can have, for example, World Meal Day. So we bring us together, peace, we learn about their food, at the same time we learn about their
But how many days are there?
Yes.
What program? So like
maybe that one would be maybe for school, individual schools.
Culture for more people in, because if it's a modern religion, most people are not coming.
Yeah, but I mean, world needing to implement in school, maybe how many days, yeah. So it's good to, if you are talking about people needing it more churches, they are involved, adult, not the children. So maybe we should recommend like world meal to connect the schools.
I think it will be up to the institutions who are prepared to open on open day, and they might prepare something that I don't think we should impose on hospitality. Then it becomes a little bit too much, and then some institutions may not along with the program.
Right, but there is we find this in Perth. And once you do in one institution, it has a reciprocal element. Because it was, first we were invited by the Buddhist community. So I went to the Buddhist temple, I gave a talk. And the Prabhuka almost reciprocated. They invited them back again here. So, and then it went round. And the church is open. In Perth, the United Church, this is one of the, I say this to everywhere I go in the world. In 2004, during the Ramadan fasting month, the United Church sent the invitation to the Muslim community. Come to the church, break your fast, do your prayer. How do you get this? So that was reciprocated. For Easter, that was reciprocated to the Prabhupada. They invited the Christians to come there. So this is, in fact, the example is there. In fact, nobody can say this is against Islam, because the example is there at the Prophet's time. So the Christians from Najran went to Medina to meet him. He invited them. Why did he say that this was to pray? Saturday morning, this side. So the reciprocal is not prayer.
Okay, maybe I come back again to schools, because we talk about churches, talk about school, because United Nations has, they have International Day of Peace celebrated in school on September 21. We will have that celebration in Toowoomba in school on September 21 to celebrate International Peace Day. Because we are talking back to Toowoomba City. No, we do not have, we don't celebrate United Nations. So maybe we should propose one school to celebrate United Nations International Day of Peace, celebrated September 21st. Our group will do what with that?
We collect the Day of Peace.
Is that what I wanted to say? So, can I just talk? I want to talk very clearly. We've been seeing these really wonderful discussions, and we've all participated, or a lot of us have participated in the discussion. I really liked what, I forgot his name. It was Amir, how about that? Dr. Amir Ali had to say, and I think he made some very, very good points. And I think what I'd like to do is, if it's okay with Ron, would be to go from what he discussed, because I thought that was quite relevant, and he gave some really good ideas at the end about we need to train the trainers. For a long time being in the Masters, and I did start my training as a SOR teacher, a study of religion teacher, and then decided I didn't fit into the high school scene.
What are we trying to conquer? And what we're trying to conquer is conflict. So what are the roots of conflict that we're trying to deal with? I think personally, in certain issues, I personally have with conflict in my life are unrealistic expectations, either of myself or of other people, other groups, and failure to communicate effectively. Either I don't get my point across because I use the wrong words, or someone hears something different to what I'm trying to say, or vice versa. So the unrealistic expectations, the miscommunication, I think, are two of the major issues for personal conflict. Of course, there's larger ones when you get out to society, breed of nations and things like that. Yeah, but for me, they're two major things for me to think about if I want to bring peace in my life.
Thank you, Peter. How's the scribe going with that? Good? Yeah. Good? Oh, I'm impressed. Just reiterating one of the rules, we're going to get so much here that my understanding is that at the break, we will sort of distill this and come together. So you're probably going to have to allow Mel and I a little bit of literary license, but we'll try not to miss out on any substantive sort of content stuff. Would that be fair? Someone else?
We've been working on social justice, and one of the things that came up was that anger occurs when injustice is felt. So a part of peace education might be to look at social justice issues and how to reduce that feeling of injustice, not just locally but globally as well, which is more of a global conflict rather than just an inner, if that adds to what you said.
But then we're Catholics and others, and the rest of us were just doing that bad. And she was mortified to have the census information shown that High Lutheran wasn't separated from Lutheran to start off with, and that the Lutherans were such a small, and she honestly thought that she was the norm, and was just didn't have this perception, this need to realise that there was knowledge that she needed this knowledge, and she had no idea of this.
And can you introduce yourself? I don't know everybody here.
No, they don't me.
I know Rachel.
Mark Suckman's my name. We know for Highs, for instance, we've got a virtues program, and they try and instil the 52 virtues, and there are probably many more than that within their children, but they don't teach it in a school-based program. Kids probably at the end of the day have enough of school, even when RE has come into the schools at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. We've got to look for other avenues of teaching the kids and incorporate those other avenues and get them away from social media once they get home. So yesterday we had a Muslim that spoke, look, I'm leader of a scout group. Now, I can't think of anything better to incorporate morals, values, ethics, responsibilities, and give them physical activity, which many of our children are lacking these days. Number one, so good on them for doing that. So they're not bored, they've got a physical activity and they're incorporating all that. Number two probably is sports, providing, once again, that sport is taught for the sake of sport, not competition, not winning. Now, I was taught probably 6 or 7 different sports, but it was never, ever, ever, and that ever emphasised on that streak of winning. You know, it was always how we could learn a lesson and the virtues of how, you know, when we did lose that game, and how we could still smile and integrate from losing this game. So the point I'm trying to make is that there are activities that we've got to consider. Number one is that parents, whilst they are responsible for the first line of education, many of them can't because they've had socially dysfunctional families, and God bless them, not because of their fault. So we've got to hand them on to the next level, and not so much the teachers to bring a discipline. Teachers, I've got 2 kids a teacher and a wife's a teacher. So that's very difficult also for the teachers. They've got enough to put up with the social dysfunction, discipline, and not so much these days. Like in my days, 95% was on education, but the teachers are flat out getting 70% of their message across because they're continuously disciplining poor kids that have not been brought up in the right area or with the right responsibility. So I just want to conclude by saying in educating and bringing these values apart from them, let's get the kids a little bit more physically active in after-school activities by way of, number one, the Scout and the Girl Guides groups, because I mean, I was in boy cups, boy oh boy, you know, apart from that physical activity, it certainly taught me a lot more about responsibility and the consequences if I didn't tie the rope properly or not properly. Poor little Johnny Brown would be on the ground with a broken leg. So it's teaching those responsibilities. So I'm going to say good on the Muslim guy that initiated the fact of Scouts, and good on all the sports clubs. It's very, very good who teaches a teacher to how to be a good coach, not how to win games, but how to instill those values. So that's all I've got to say.
I just wonder though, and I'll give you an example. My son goes to a state school. They have an RE teacher and a chaplain, but it's all Christian based. Now there's nothing wrong with Christianity. I'm not dissing Christians at all, but my children are Jewish. Now my son, they had Harmony Day today, and they had to dress up. My son just wore a talit and a kippah, and he went as a rabbi. He thought that was great. And one kid came to explain this to this little boy during the week, and the boy said, "Great, I'm coming as Hitler." Now, of course, when he was upset, we come home, all this, because we know what Hitler did, you know. But when he come home, and then I spoke to the teacher this morning, the teacher was outraged that, you know, this happened. But the fact of the matter is that child, innocently, because he had no understanding about Jewish history, about Jewish values, that he inadvertently made us anti-Semitic slurs. And anti-Semitism is taken very seriously by the Jewish people, as you can imagine. So that comparative study, whilst it may not, as music and art is considered by most primary school teachers as irrelevant, I understand, I've been a music teacher, I understand that, as that can be considered as important as numeracy or English, the teaching of it allows the children to interact with the African children, with the Jewish children, with the Buddhist children that are all in the school, and they don't understand. My son tried to wear a kippah to school and got teased to the point that he took it off. So it's because the kids didn't understand. So they do, I feel, they do really need that education.
But we can make it broader than that, and also we're talking very, very generally. I mean, do we want to localise it and contextualise it to the community?
Can I say something?
Please.
This is a peace education forum. There's nothing specifically for us to discuss religion. And it seems that when we talk about religion, we get stuck. Do we want to rise above that, or do we want to discuss it? Because a couple of those lecturers have stuck in my craw with what they've said, like, the government should put in more money in this, the teachers should do it at school. I believe the responsibility is with families to raise their children within the laws of the land and with their own value system. So I think we need to come back, you know, are we a religious forum or are we a business?
That's a really good question. One of the great things what Muirland does, leaves it to us. That's why this topic is so broad. It's up to us. If this group decided all they wanted to talk about was religion, all they wanted to talk about was Toowoomba, or all they wanted to talk about was youth, that's our call. But we can open up, we can talk about whatever we like, as long as it fits broadly in that topic, sharing ideas on peace education, why, what, how. Thank you.
I'm from China. My name is Jason, but my English is very bad, so I speak Chinese. My sister speaks English. 这样，那个首先，我觉得讨论这么多的意思，首先我们要回归到一个自然是我们的孩子为什么会出现这么多的问题？因为首先就是因为我们这些做父母的，我们认为的有些地方没有做到位的。
So we can't
talk about a lot of things about education, but we should think of why there are so many problems happen. We need to ask us this question, why these things happen. Then we have to think of to be parents, what we have done.
首先是不太了解国外的这样的生活。作为一个中国人，我只想和中国社会的问题。首先我们。
I'm not quite familiar with overseas in what's the life in Australia, education system in Australia. I can only talk about in China and in Taisoo, life environment, living environment. Taisoo.
作为中国的年轻人，受到这些不良的社会冲击，基本上分3点。那第一点呢，就是可能我们会看到很多父母之间的不和、争吵，然后导致离婚，还有一些对社会的负面的影响，还有对政党的一些不正的一些言论。
These are many problems happen. What we can see is why it happens. First thing in China, let's say the kids grew up from the family, and the kids can see the parents, they argue, they fight, they have conflicts, and then they probably end up with divorce. That's one reason of the impact. So the problem happens. Another reason because of the government doesn't do good things, and people can see that, the kids can see that. So that's another thing that impact the education of the kids, or could impact the views of the kids. The government didn't think. So that's second reason.
还有一点就是我们可能会对于这个社会中的一些算是攀比，然后对于这些欲望的一些名牌的衣服、名牌的车，还有一些颜色追求。
Third reason because of the kids or the young people, they only look at other kids. They are very rich, very material. They see uniform, cars, and those things would be the problem.
One thing I've got from everyone is saying we don't want a state that's always the case. Education happens so there should not be a state constitution another point that I've been hearing is saying that we should broaden it beyond religion to attitudes, morality, behaviour, attitudes.
She was very keen on it, and when we got that, we thought, oh, this is going to be so good. She said the federals can't do it, you have to take it to the states, and she even gave us names of people to take it to. We did this, they said, oh no, the federals say have the money and they say what we have to do. We had to go back to them. We went back to the federals and they said you can, you have to go to the community.
I might have to just sort of move on, but no, I'm not minimising the point. Very valuable one. We've covered that.
Sure.
We're not going to have time to go into much more detail, but Esperanto, good idea.
Also, other languages provide that. I think this is a bit developed in Australia, the language teaching of languages.
Yes, well,
any language would help to promote
the language.
Yes, and this language particularly, because it doesn't belong to anyone in the world, it belongs to everyone who does it, so there's equality.
I think that peace education needs to become a way of life. That unless we are peaceful within ourselves, then we can't receive each other So then Eddie and I have just become involved with the Buddhist community at Pure Land, and it certainly has been such a benefit for us over the last couple of weeks, because I think it's important that if you're in a peaceful place, then you're going to receive other people more peacefully, and that education of how we behave and how we portray who we are is going to bring about itself in education.
So are there some, given this discussion, and we've talked about some really broad concepts, are there some very specific things that we could do in the Toowoomba community and say, okay, these are some specific things that we could do? I mean, the really specific what?
I think there's a fair bit going on, but it's often piecemeal and you don't hear about it. Like I run a meditation group. It's only recently I've had an invitation to do a meditation day tomorrow from an International Council Day. And I think a lot of people don't realise the variety of meditation groups going that they can take part in. I think that quietness does calm us. It calms our mind, it calms our body. People may just sit in silence. But it's something that should be taught.
So meditation, but also other things you alluded to, there's stuff happening, but maybe we don't know about it.
We don't know about it. Like, people don't know about the reset and they've been doing all their life. I'm a newcomer to Toowoomba. Somehow I found about it, heard about it within a year, and I've known about it the last 8 years. But it's interesting, locals don't know about it.
So what do we need to do? Why does that happen? I mean, it's interesting, the Pure Land has ads in the paper almost daily, I think, certainly weekly. And I heard them advertising this forum on the radio and so forth. Why don't we? I don't know about yours.
I found with my own kids, and they found out they're traditional Catholics, or Christians, I should say. There's a fear that, Mum's going to see what's she doing there. I think there's a fear of the unknown.
So if that's the case, what do we need to do?
Well,
behind the skull caps on the scare the crowd out of the kids.
Relationship. Nothing happens without relationship with the community. We need to change the culture of how we do things and take ownership on the role and the power that I have as a person to contribute to that culture.
So, if I went away from Toowoomba and I came back in 12 months' time and said, hey, all this stuff's changed, we've done it, what would I see differently? What would have happened? What would have changed? What would we be doing? What would be different?
It's already happened.
Sorry?
Move the wall more.
Move the wall.
I think that boils down to a simple point, and that is that we want the government to acknowledge that there shouldn't be a state religion. That's basically it. And I think that summarises.
Can I just make a point? That is that the problem is possibly the teaching of an individual religion. The solution to this might be to educate all students in mindfulness before you even think about religion. Religion can be part of mindfulness, but mindfulness being the predominant teaching, that encompasses everyone and gets them thinking about not bullying each other, and see overcoming a number of social problems that exist in schools, whether or not you teach religion.
We are talking about religious education. Why can't it just change? It's not religious education, it's just Narayan. We're not talking about religious education. Can we just scrap religious education and just go to moral education? We can say religious, because then it connotes religion. We're not talking about religion, we're talking about morality. So it should be changed to moral education. The school should just teach moral education, no specific religion involved. So, religion should be taught by religious teachers, in the church and in the mosque, not in the schools.
Thank you for those comments. You're right too.
Well, I believe what you said is right. It comes from religion. And what Ali was saying, that he was recommending that of children are exposed to beliefs in all these different religions, so that their minds can be trained to live forward and discern for themselves what they think about this and that confession is saying. And so, and frankly, truth is one, as you said, in all religions, truth is one, and all religions came at different times and different periods. And because you're a singer, dear, I thought I might add a little bit to the truth. Where they were. Getting finding the hot bus from every child and overflowing joy that in the union of our hearts my love may find a lodging place, and thou myself is finest lodging place thine own.
Direct quote from what he said, my interpretation of what he said, don't be so sure that your way is the only way. He went on to, I suppose, elaborate, and it comes up to me that it's respect for somebody else, irrespective of what another person's opinion is, and how that opinion sits with us. We've got to respect their opinion and hopefully arrive at a situation where they respect ours, and then somehow.
And that's actually what you're saying, Dennis, because really the dialogue's going to get that out. We're too busy sort of, sometimes our own ideas, it's the only way, but if we dialogue and genuinely listen, I might think, hey, yeah, what Dennis said, he's spot on. Now, it wasn't on that occasion, Dennis, but it could be on another occasion. No, it wasn't. Yeah, no.
Respect. Type of forum does, it builds up a respect.
Would people agree there's been a lot of ideas, and we can disagree or agree with some of them, but a couple that seem to have got, no, I haven't checked the second one, it's only universal for me, just what Dennis said, if I could distill that in some words, that respecting other people, listening, dialoguing, is that some sort of overall sort of principle, if we're going to get this sort of peace together, that should be there?
I think respect is foundation of the peace.
Respect?
Respect is foundation of the peace.
And I suppose the second action thing I was thinking, have we got some...
One of my bugbears has always been this religious tolerance. I have a real issue with the concept of religious tolerance. Tolerance is a political thing. Yeah. It's putting up with someone until you can push them down the stairs.
Exactly.
Religious acceptance, on the other hand,
exactly.
or belief acceptance, if you want to go one step further, accepting that people are atheists or agnostic.
So again, is that would we have some consensual agreement in terms of some universality about the belief acceptance? That's something that he pushes a lot too. He says that a lot to me. We all know that if I'm tolerating Sam, I'm just putting up with it.
Yeah.
But if I accept her and accept her belief, I don't have to agree with all that stuff, but if I accept, then I'm respecting her.
Even accepting her opinion is different, that's fine.
And the other action thing, do we have some consensual view about Peter's idea about the literacy and numeracy training? That's a real action that we could do. And I know the feds are looking at that whole literacy and numeracy thing at the moment. They're looking for ideas.
I would agree with it, but I do not agree with the method that they're using.
Yeah.
Right? So as long as we can't say, pushing that, but let's not assume that the current education system knows what it's doing.
Yeah. No, actually I agree. In fact, in terms of the adult literacy for refugees and migrants, I don't agree with the way it's done either, because otherwise...
Child literacy is not real good either.
Like we've all sat in this forum today and now we're talking about what the government is going to do. Aren't we going away with ideas of what I can do as me from this?
What we should do, or they should do in terms of...
As you're saying, what can I do? And one of the things I'd certainly like to take away is basically what Dennis was saying. I'd like to sort of focus more on listening, respecting that difference, etc. Sometimes I do okay, and sometimes I don't do okay. But there's a whole heap of other things.
The thing is that we say, we must respect one another, but how do we go about like educating people to do this?
I think you have to do the exam.
Yes, and I think, you know, we have many groups in the society, you know. We have a group for this, a group for that, you know, where people come together. And I feel that we need to concentrate on that. Each group, you know, to come to this way of thinking, you know, and, you know, that's where I think the education comes in, like, that for each group to, you know, to come to this this learning thing of, yes, we've got to respect one another, and we've got to, we need to respect one another. But, you know, to work in those groups and to build those up, because we have so many groups, and, you know, and you can even form groups to even just do this sort of thing, you know, and to start to respect one another, and, you know, and to work on this. You know, I think it's they have to experience it.
I'm really aware that this gentleman, you were going to go for about 20 minutes.
And the same thing with all the washermen. They bring their donkeys and bring their horses, and so we used to have a festival decorated with all the bullock carts. So we had to have a humanity at large, thinking all the living beings. So I would like to see peace education, living with peace, humanity at large. And one more thing I want to say is about we are living in an environment which is creating a lot of calamities because of the greed of wealthy nations. So the Millennium Goal of the United Nations has 16, now I'm diversifying here from themes which you have been all focused, religion. We have to have some ethics, we have to have some equity, we have to have some social justice. So we need to have some amount of empathy for all the suffering beings who are disadvantaged due to calamities of nature, calamities of things like that. There are 16 items on the priority list, and we choose the items that includes pacifism, includes religion, and includes humanitarian at large, and social justice issues, and we have terrorism. Terrorism because people are poor. Most of the people are poor because they don't have anything to fight for other than their own living. No who can they fight with? All the rich people who are holding the amount of money. So all the mining companies there. So I would like you to all go through the My World UN Global Survey and look at how we can educate. Peace education should be including not only religion, the tolerance of the aspects of universality of all religions, ethical value, moral value, sharing, and community sharing is a big issue now. There is a big movement going around Europe. Share your tools, share your pains and suffering, so mental anguish. So we need to have a sharing community, and we no longer can polarize ourselves into compartments of religion, Jewish, Maoist, establish separate state. With
people influencing their parents. It's called children influencing parents.
And I think the most successful campaign for that has been the likes of recycling. Or slip, slop, slap, as far as sunscreen goes. That
no
kids
hat, no play.
Yeah, no hat, no play. Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Like these two are sort of an extension of that, but if I add it all into that one point, yeah, it's more granular than these two. Because this one's just super broad.
For me, and I don't want to put my own personal down, but I think there were sort of at least 3 or 4 really consensual things that I could think of. You're going to have to sort of a little bit of trust in me in terms of trying to distill this in something. But is there? Can I ask first from you, Belle? Like, do you think we've got enough material to make something out of this?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was very interesting to listen to all of you, because I came to the group with a very different perspective of peace education. So I found myself going, no, that's really off track. But then I thought, well, no, that's
I have to respect that it means something different to everyone. The main thing that came out for me, I suppose, from what I was listening to everyone speak, is that it's really, peace is very much first an inside job. Like, you have to be at peace with who you are, be a peaceful being before you can expect to have any impact on anyone else around you. So, am I right there? Am I
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed you didn't need our group. You could have just got up and said your own thing.
But it wouldn't have been, so that wouldn't have been right, because she already had the concept, and therefore it wouldn't have been true.
Very true, very true. Sorry, Mel, I interrupted you.
No, so I think when you're at peace with yourself, that's where everything else comes from. That's where respect for other people, because if you respect yourself, you respect other people. You can listen to other people's opinions without being offended or feeling that you have to be right all the time, because you're grounded. You already know where you're at. So I think that's an important point. The idea around literacy, Barry, you seem quite taken on that one, and and so I was very interested to hear that. And if that's something that we feel we need to put forward as a recommendation.
Literacy.
So perhaps if we start making some recommendations that you're all happy for me to take for you. So I'll be happy if we start with the idea of the inside job and peace has to come from within. Are you all happy with that? Yeah.
I think at the beginning there were a couple, I can't remember, there were a couple of principles that came out, some overarching principles. I don't remember what they were.
Social justice.
Yes, justice.
And change of culture, as in like community culture, not like ethnic culture.
One came out of
Understanding what we're trying to do, we understand what conflict beforehand, or what causes a lack of peace.
So when you put that forward,
I think so. They're almost some overarching principles, I suppose. You want some words, don't you?
Direct me here.
I think literacy is important because our youth are tending to learn online, and to be learning online, you have to be computer literate, you have to be literate with letters. A little bit of numeracy doesn't matter. I think if we're presenting or at least providing something so that people become more literate, they're more capable of learning and getting into the flow of lifelong.
Like it's about the skills they need to equal centre they can't understand that form.
Communicate better with each other if you're...
I think there needs to be more accountability in the institutions that actually teach the teachers to become teachers, because I've worked in there and I tell you what, it's pretty scary.
It's not really a problem with teachers, it's a problem with the education system. At the moment, all you need to do to go from grade 2 to grade 3 is have a birth.
No, but the teachers themselves that are being taught are not being, the system is not in place for them. Why do you want to be a teacher? Oh, because I can finish school at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and get all the holidays.
4 minutes left, we haven't got time to sort of
You started, the whole conversation started about what you were doing with children and preparing children. And I take on board what Dr. said, have to train them. Yes. Now one of the things I really genuinely support in, because you can do all of it, we've got everything in the school, but how do kids take it on board? How do they grow with it? How do they develop only from the bottom on top? Yeah. So you have to train them. Yeah, not academic.
Peace education is concerned.
So I think
mainstream record and they put it on the store on stage. It's amazing.
So what are you actually studying?
Back to Craig Ross, Craig Media, modern stage management. Film and TV, as I said before, it's like, the only time I've ever been up there was for the shoots, and that was bad enough. I don't.